Southern Sports Now on a Friday. Welcome in. Chase Robinson here. Glad you are along with us this morning. We have got a great show as we wrap up this week on a Friday edition. Gotta love a good Friday, and we've got a great show on the way for you. We're live on YouTube on the East Alabama Now YouTube channel. We're live on Facebook on the East Alabama Now Facebook page. So go ahead, go like, share, and put it out there for those of you joining us. Share it with your friends as we wrap up really our first week of broadcasting Southern Sports Now. And we've got a lot to get to today on the high school baseball and softball front, college baseball and softball, Braves baseball, all of that on the way. Joe Cox of Saturday Down South, columnist, will join us coming up at 10:40 to talk some SEC baseball with us. He covers the SEC baseball very, very well for Saturday Down South, so we'll get his insight on what's going on across the Southeastern Conference, and we will do that coming up again at 10:40. But as we start every show, let's look at our top 5 headlines of the day. We'll start with a big headline here in East Alabama. The Oxford Yellow Jackets heading to the state finals. Oxford got a sweep last night over Coleman. Got 11-0 win in game 1. They were able to walk away with a 5-3 win in game 2 to clinch their spot in the state championship. That's exciting for Coach Westbrooks and this Oxford baseball team, really for the whole Oxford community. It's been since 2012 since they were in a semifinal series, and to be able to sweep the Coleman Bearcats. The game was supposed to be Wednesday night, but because of the weather, they had to push it to last night, and it fared well for the Oxford Yellow Jackets. So they will begin their championship series Tuesday afternoon at Choccolocco Park in Oxford, and then Wednesday, that'll be game 1 Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday, they'll have game 2 and the if game, if needed, beginning at 10 a.m. there at Rudy Abbott Field in Jacksonville. But the Oxford Yellow Jackets are going to have somewhat of a home crowd, you can imagine, as they get ready for the state finals. But big news there, and we'll talk more about that game coming up later on in the show. But big news there for the Oxford Yellow Jackets. Another Oxford team has clinched a spot in the state tournament, as well as Pleasant Valley yesterday. So 2 East Alabama teams have clinched their spot in the state tournament. That also taking place at Choccolocco Park next week. So congratulations to those teams. A couple of more East Alabama teams playing today, trying to get a spot in the state tournament. Alexandria in 5A, White Plains in 4A, both up today for a chance to clinch their state tournament spot. So they'll be playing today. We'll give you scores of those games coming up tonight on the EAN local news. Also in softball, Jacksonville State, their season comes to an end. They, of course, lost to Liberty yesterday morning. They had an elimination game yesterday afternoon with Florida Gulf Coast, and they lost. So a really good season for Jana McGinnis, and Jacksonville State softball comes to an end in the ASUN tournament. A couple of more softball headlines for you. We got baseball conference tournaments coming up in the next couple of weeks, but right now it's softball time. Auburn had to come from behind last night on Ole Miss, but they ended up winning that game 8-7, and they will advance now to the semifinal round of the SEC softball tournament. Auburn, the number 3 seed in the tournament, so a good win for the Tigers last night over Ole Miss. And Alabama gets the win over Arkansas. Now, the SEC tournament rotates around to the schools. You think the SEC baseball tournament is always at the Hoover Met. But the softball tournament rotates between schools. A couple of years ago, Alabama had it. Auburn has it next year. Arkansas has it this year. And so Alabama actually had to play Arkansas on their home field in front of what you can imagine would be a home crowd for Arkansas. And Alabama got the win. So the Crimson Tide will now head to the semifinals as well as the number 5 seed. So good showing for Alabama and Auburn both so far in the SEC softball tournament. So those are top 5 headlines of the day. We could put a lot of headlines. We'll get to a lot more throughout the show today. But those are our top 5 headlines of things going on locally and across the state. And we'll get to some national news later on as well. So a lot to come today. We invite you to be a part of the show. Hit us up if you have maybe a story idea, a guest idea, or anything along those lines. Shoot us an email. You can email us eansports23@gmail.com. You can send us a message on the East Alabama Now Facebook page. Hit us a message on Twitter @EAN_sports. Follow us there. But go ahead and share this video on Facebook, on YouTube, on all the social media platforms. And we're looking forward to hearing from you as we move through the show today. We'll jump to a break. Coming up, we'll talk some softball and a little baseball as we roll on this Friday on Southern Sports Now. You stick around, more to come.
Cabinet business. With that in mind, we're going to change our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond encompasses everything that we do in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welberg Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
East Alabama Now Local News has been bringing you the best local news coverage for 6 months. And now we're growing.
EAN News will be available to you 5 nights a week with new faces, new content, and coverage that is second to none.
We'll be bringing you the weather that matters to your neighborhood and to you. Rain or shine, you'll be in the know.
Sports always brings communities together, and EAN Sports will have coverage of all of our area events.
East Alabama Now, local news, new faces, same great coverage. Starting 5 days a week, May 1st. EAN Local News, your news on your schedule.
We're back, Southern Sports Now, here on a Friday afternoon. Thanks for hanging out with us. Remember to like and share our stream we have going on right now. We're on the East Alabama Now Facebook page, East Alabama Now YouTube as well. So like, share, and we want to hear from you. And as we're 3 days into this, and we'll have our first full week next week. And what's cool is we're going to keep adding elements. We're going to keep adding features that we do here on the show. So we're excited as we get this thing started. Doing something that really no one else is doing, bringing you what you want to hear as far as local sports, statewide sports, national sports, all for you. Sports fans across East Alabama and across the world as we are streaming online. Auburn softball, we mentioned it in our headlines. They had to come from behind last night to take down Ole Miss. Auburn comes in. They're the number 3 seed in the SEC softball tournament. We'll roll some highlights here and tell you how they did it. And, again, they came in 40-16 on the season. And it took some really good hitting there at the bottom of the first inning for Auburn. They were able to push some runs across. They took a little bit of a lead to start, but before you knew it, Ole Miss, who's the number 11 seed, put together a string of hits and runs and were able to get on the board. But a couple of errors from Ole Miss gave Auburn the opportunity to put some runs on the board, and Auburn did a great job of getting back in the game. As there you see right now, Tresvik with the home run, and that put Auburn back in the game. They tied it up, and then there you see the hit that kind of sealed the deal to give them that one-run lead, and that is the score that finished it up as Auburn was able to take down Ole Miss 8-7. Again, this is the largest come-from-behind win in SEC tournament history for the Auburn Tigers as they beat Ole Miss last night. Had a chance to hear from Auburn head coach Mickey Dean, his thoughts on last night's game and just the way his ladies fought to get themselves back into it.
It's easy to win the pretty games. You know, the pretty games, you go home and you feel all googly about yourself, but the ugly games, that's where you find out what your character is. You know, you think about it, you got Maddie Pence in the circle. She's struggling. You're up 2-0. All of a sudden, you're down 6-2, and you bring Annabelle in. And now, what are you going to do? How are you going to respond? We're going to quit. We're going to fight. Because you know, she was saying we had 4 more innings. Actually, offensively, we had 5 more innings, and luckily, because we needed all 5. And you know, like I said, we came out in that 3rd inning, and we forced them into making some mistakes. We answered. And, you know, it's a 1-run ball game. Completely different field. And that's why it's important, always important to answer that way.
Looking at the box score from last night's Auburn-Ole Miss game, some, again, good hitting for Auburn. You had Peralta 1 for 4, Bryant 2 for 4, Tresvik, who you saw hit that monster home run, she was 2 for 3. Lindsey Garcia 1 for 2. Rose Roach 2 for 3, and so that really helped the Auburn Tigers get it going offensively. But that home run was huge to get Auburn back into it there. So SEC softball today, of course, more action as we'll see Tennessee and Florida. That should be a really good one. The number 1 Tennessee, number 8 Florida, they get it going. They're playing right now. They just got started there in Arkansas. You'll see Auburn and South Carolina at 3 o'clock this afternoon. And then Alabama and the winner of Tennessee-Florida tonight coming up following that Auburn game. So 3 games happening today. Again, Tennessee and Florida, Auburn, South Carolina, and then Alabama will have the winner of Tennessee-Florida. So some really good softball happening in the SEC softball tournament, again at Bogle Park in Arkansas. We mentioned in the headlines as well, Oxford baseball winning the state championship. You know, there's nothing like that moment when you seal the deal and are going to the state championship. Let's watch this clip sent to us by the Oxford Baseball Booster Club. This was the final out of Oxford Coleman last night there in the semifinals. Let's check it out. Again, an exciting moment here as Oxford trying to make the state championship series. Nice called strike 3, seals the deal for Oxford, and the celebration begins. It's that moment waiting on the umpire to call it strike 3. He does. The celebration ensues, and Oxford, for the first time since 2012, heading to the state championship series. And very exciting stuff. Very exciting for Oxford, for Coach Wes Brooks, for these guys. We visited with some of the players last week, Coach Brooks this week, and really special. This team has got a lot of talent, a lot of Division I talent, a lot of guys who will be playing at the next level that were able to get it done. And again, 11-0 in the first game last night, and it was 5-3 in the second game. So Oxford's got Spanish Fort coming up in the 6A finals. Again, Tuesday at 4 o'clock. They'll play Game 1. Game 2 will be at 10 a.m. on Wednesday at Jacksonville State. Game 3 will follow if they need it. But Oxford Spanish Fort, if you remember in the 2019 football state championship, it was Oxford Spanish Fort. And Oxford was able to win that one. So we'll see what Oxford can do in the baseball finals against Spanish Fort coming up next week. But really exciting for really the whole community of Oxford. Bud McCarty Field was slammed full last night for that series. The community's excited, and hey, it's right down the road at Oxford. The Game 1, Game 2 at Jacksonville State, but it should be a home game atmosphere for the Gamecocks for the Yellow Jackets rather, in the state championship series. So congratulations to Oxford for getting it done. Congratulations to those guys for working hard, playing for the state championship. We've got a lot more to get to today, but hey, if you were there last night, we want to know what that crowd was like, what it was like watching Oxford win last night. Hit us up on Facebook and YouTube. If you were there, let us know what it was like watching these guys do it last night. And so I know a lot of folks, you think of the 1978 state championship team, the 09 championship team. A lot of those guys were there supporting the Yellow Jackets last night. And that's very exciting stuff. Braves baseball is our topic up next. A lot to get to when you get to the Braves. We'll do that coming up.
We're excited to announce that starting this April, we'll be entering into the cabinet business. With that in mind, we're going to change our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond encompasses everything that we do in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welberg Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
EAN Sports is proud to bring you the best, most informative local sports content, and we want your help to be able to do that. If you have a story idea, a tip for our sportscast, or even a highlight clip you want to see on EAN Local Sports, send us an email, eansports23@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter @EAN_sports, or you can send it to the EAN News Facebook page. EAN Sports, bringing you the local sports happening in your community.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
If you see some interesting weather phenomenon in your backyard here in East Alabama, send that to us. We would love to hear from you. Send that to us at the email address you see on your screen or through Facebook at EAN News.
Ted's Floors and Beyond. You may be thinking, well, I thought it was Ted's Carpet and Floor. They have changed because they are doing more. The Beyond part, they've partnered with Welborn Cabinet to now offer a complete kitchen or bath makeover. That includes cabinets, countertops, flooring, backsplashes, and tile showers. Ted's Floors and Beyond, of course, always offers the best flooring, lifetime warranty on any flooring installation. They sell hardwood, laminate, carpet, tile, and luxury vinyl. They'll do the installation for you. The best part about Ted's, they're locally owned and operated. They have a great staff, very, very helpful. You go into the store, you can work with a salesperson, get exactly what you want. They are going to do a great job of helping you out. They always offer 0% interest financing for 12 months and free in-home estimates. Ted's Carpet and Floor is now Ted's Floors and Beyond. And so check out Ted's Floors and Beyond there on Highway 431 there in Anniston. We appreciate Ted's for sponsoring this segment of Southern Sports Now. Braves baseball. It's a hot topic. And, you know, it's something we could go on and on about because there's so many questions involving this team. Series begins tonight for the Braves as they are up in Toronto. Take on the Blue Jays. Again, a series we don't see a lot, but with the rule changes in baseball, which I really like, we're seeing this Braves-Blue Jays series. And we got Spencer Strider on the mound tonight, a guy that can get it done. He has the chance to be one of these top-tier guys in the Braves organization, but he's been up and down at times, but interested to see what he will be able to do. He is 4-0 on the season, so credit him in what he's been able to do. But this rotation needs some help, and when you look at this team, and you know we've seen a couple of games with the Red Sox this week. The Braves' offense is not a problem, but it's what they can do pitching. It's the starting rotation and how long the starters can go before the relievers are going to have to come in. And you don't want to have to rely on your bullpen for an entire game. The Braves need guys that can go 5, 6, really even 7 innings, so you don't have to put so much on your bullpen. But I'm curious of what you think the Braves should do as far as the starting rotation. What are your thoughts? What should you do? We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. What do you think the Braves should do as far as starting rotation? What moves would you make? And I think that's for Alex Anthopoulos right now. This is a big decision. What does he want to do? How can he fix this team? Do you want to make a trade? Do you want to pull up some guys maybe from Gwinnett? There's a couple of guys that we saw in spring training, Dylan Dodd and Jared Schuster. Both of these guys we saw in spring training. They had decent outings down in Florida. They both have some decent starts with Gwinnett this year so far. But those may be a couple of guys that we could see maybe fit into the rotation. But I'm curious what you, the viewers, think the Braves should do. There's a lot of options. Do you want to go out and make a trade? Do you want to pick up a free agent? People are maybe pointing towards Mike Soroka. What is his timetable looking out? Do the Braves want to even take a chance at having him out there? So offense, I'm really pleased with what the Braves look like. But with Max Fried and Kyle Wright both out now, it leaves a lot of questions on the starting rotation that we will have to find out. Another thing, the Braves are about to go on a very tough stretch. I want to look at this graphic. This is the Braves' schedule left in the month of May, and it's got some tough teams on it. Of course, Toronto Blue Jays this weekend in a 3-game series. Then the Braves go to the Rangers. Now, the Rangers, if you haven't been keeping up with baseball and other leagues, the Rangers sit in first in the American League West. So that's the next 3-game series up for the Braves. And it's on the road in Texas. Again, a series we don't see a lot with the Braves and Rangers. But they got 3 games next week, and that's going to be really tough for the Braves. Then they're back home for 3 series. But they got the Mariners coming in for 3 games. Then you got the Dodgers coming in, who lead the NL West. Then the Phillies for 4 games. So the Mariners, not the best baseball team, but you got the Dodgers, who are very dangerous, always a team making deep runs, always a team you end up playing in the playoffs. You got them coming for 3 games. And you got the Phillies, who are not off to a great start, but let's be reminded of what they did a year ago. They were off to a similar start and ended up playing for the World Series. You got 4 games in a divisional series with the Phillies on the 25th through 28th of May. And then to round out the month, You go to Oakland to take on the Athletics. You got 2 former A's on your team, and Matt Olson and Sean Murphy. So the rest of the stretch in the month of May for the Braves is going to be interesting to see, and interesting to see how they handle the pitching, as we were just talking about, against these teams. You're going to see really good pitching with the Dodgers. I think the offense is ready for that. You're going to see decent pitching with the Phillies. The offense is ready for that. You're going to see really good pitching, I think, with the Rangers, though, depending on some injuries they have, if they can get some guys back. But certainly will be fun to follow what happens through the rest of the month of May, because it could get tough as we move through May. But interesting note on the Braves' record so far. They sit currently at 25-12, which is the 3rd best in baseball. So the Braves with a really good record right now, and so that's something to be proud of, Braves fans, as you look at their record. And again, it's going to be tough in the month of May. It'll be tough in June, but when you get into more of the divisional series for the Braves, there's a lot of injuries in the NL East right now. And so if you look at, let's say, the month of June, you go to the Diamondbacks. Yeah, they're all right. You do have 3 games with the Mets. They're not at full strength. You got 3 games with the Nationals. They're not quite at full strength. You got the Tigers. They're struggling. So if you get through this stretch of May, that's really going to help you as you move into the month of June and for the rest of summer. It's a long baseball season, and that's what I like to remind people this time of the year, that even though the Braves are doing great, there's a lot of baseball left to play. These teams like the Phillies and the Mets, who aren't starting out so great, well, there's a lot of baseball left to be played. 162 games total. We go all the way through September, so a lot of baseball to be played where these teams can turn it around. But certainly the Braves are off to a great start, and would love to get your thoughts on the Braves. Hit us up. We're also on Twitter at EAN_sports. What would you do with that starting rotation? That's the big question all Braves fans are asking themselves right now. And Alex Anthopoulos has always proven to be a guy who makes good decisions in crunch times. You think of 2021. The Braves were having a losing season. He decided in late July, right at the deadline, to pick up a few guys. And guess what? The Braves got hot and won the World Series that year. They didn't even have a winning record until August, and November the 3rd won the World Series. So Alex Anthopoulos, I trust him to make the moves needed. But right now, I think it's not about him making moves. It's about the timetable of making moves. That's going to be important of when he does this. Is he going to wait till June or July at the deadline to add some guys to the rotation? Because Fried and Wright will be probably back maybe July, late July, early August. So are you going to wait till then, or are you going to make something happen earlier? That will be the question as far as it goes for Alex Anthopoulos and the front office for the Atlanta Braves. But a lot of questions, but still good baseball, and I think that's what's to be noted is the good baseball, especially offensively, that the Braves are still playing. Now, when you look at kind of the NL East as a whole, which is really what we focus on because that's the division the Braves are in, MLB.com put out a great piece of some different fixes each team needs to look at as they head into the rest of the season. So what MLB.com says for the Braves, one quick fix each team needs is persevere with a fractured rotation. With these guys out, the Braves need other guys like Schuster, like Dodd to step up. They want to keep Soroka in there. But like we mentioned earlier, Dodd, Schuster, both impressive at spring training. When it comes to the Marlins, he said get more consistency from the rotation, whether it be reigning National League Cy Young Award winner Sandy Alcantara or Edward Cabrera. Miami starting staff has underproven. It doesn't help that Trevor Rogers and Johnny Santo are on the injured list and won't be back in the foreseeable future. So that's something that that the Marlins need to look at, is get some consistency in the rotation. And I think really every team, you could say that. For the Mets, one quick fix, according to MLB.com, starters need to go deep in games. It's time to give the bullpen a break. And the relievers for the Mets have pitched a combined 136 and a third innings. That is a very, very high number. I talked about that a second ago with the Braves, how they want to see guys be able to go 5, 6, 7 innings when, the Mets are really just seeing their starters able to go 2, maybe 3 innings. That's a problem, and that is what the quick fix for the Mets pointing to. For the Nationals, power at the plate. They entered Wednesday 22 home runs. That is the fewest in the National League. This is an interesting note here. The Dodgers have 64 home runs. So the Nationals need to get some power behind the plate, and we'll see if they can do that. For the Phillies, they say aces in the hole. Phillies rotation has underperformed. Ranger Suarez returns this weekend in Colorado. That will be very helpful for the Phillies. But their number 3 through number 5 starters have struggled. Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola have been the guys they've been able to go to, but not what they wanted there in Philly. But just some quick notes there from MLB.com. Thought that was interesting, of kind of the one fix each team needs as far as the NL East. And we'll look at other divisions, but we will mainly focus on the NL East, as of course that is what the Braves leads right now. Of course, 3.5 game ahead of the New York Mets right now in the NL East. And again, a lot can change. It's baseball. A lot can happen. Injuries happen, and the Braves do need to stay healthy. We talk a lot about the guys that are hurt, but the guys they do have right now need to stay healthy. I like the top of the lineup, and the bottom guys are able to get on as well. But when you have Acuna and Austin Riley and Matt Olson and Sean Murphy in your lineup, that is very dangerous. And you had Ozzie Albies in there as well for some speed. Eddie Rosario's been able to make good contact. When you have those guys in your lineup, I'll take the Braves lineup on a daily basis over whoever they play. But pitching is where it all starts, and the Braves need to make sure they are ready to go from the pitching side. We are live, so check us out on Facebook and YouTube. Jeff Coleman is watching. Appreciate you for watching, Jeff. Jordan Brenneman says, "Go Phils." Phillies fan there, dropping a comment. Shout out to him for watching as we are live here on Facebook, on the East Alabama Now page, YouTube, on the East Alabama Now YouTube channel. Your thoughts on baseball moving forward for the Braves and whoever your favorite team is. You can drop us a line there. Again, here on this Friday, we're moving through as we're about to wrap up week 1, as we've been with you since Wednesday, first full week next week. We're going to continue to add some stuff to the show, so looking forward to that as we get this started. We'll be adding a phone line hopefully soon where you'll be able to call in and voice your opinions to us here on the show. We're working on that and giving you the chance to make this your sports show as I bring it to you each day, as this show is for the sports fans of East Alabama and beyond. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to be talking with Joe Cox of Saturday Down South. We'll talk SEC baseball as the tournament just a couple of weeks away. 2 more series left for each team. We'll get the insight. Joe Cox, Saturday Down South, joins us next here on Southern Sports Now.
We're excited to announce this starting this April, we'll be entering into the cabinet business. With that in mind, we're going to change our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond encompasses everything that we do in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welberg Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brodney Sneed from both CARES and Direct Primary Care. Direct Primary Care is an exciting new model of medical care growing on both the East and West Coast. It's been recommended by Forbes and the American Academy of Family Physicians and others for individuals or small businesses with or without health insurance. The pure simplicity of a membership model streamlines the burden of medical care. It eliminates 60% of the overhead. That streamlining allows providers time to focus on patients with free, no copay, no deductible, unhurried office visits or telehealth visits with minimal waiting room time. It produces same or next day appointments and access by text or telephone during and after hours. It saves you from leaving work, wasting time and getting exposed in a waiting room, and the convenience and cost with barriers removed helps one avoid letting problems like a sore throat turn into an expensive ER or hospital visit for pneumonia. If you're interested, search the web for CARES Direct Primary Care.
Southern Sports Now on a Friday morning. Appreciate you for joining us on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching. We are glad you are here with us as we're going to be talking with Joe Cox of Saturday Down South here momentarily. Talk some SEC baseball, and it's been an odd week to say the least in SEC baseball. Alabama, we've talked about it. Just a tough situation with Brad Bohannon being fired last week for the betting scandal. That he was communicating with a bettor as they were betting against Alabama on LSU in that series, which led to his firing. Jason Jackson has stepped up as the interim head coach, and Alabama's looking good, especially just what all's going on within the program the last week. LSU has been just rolling, #1 in the country. No team has defeated them in a series until last weekend when Auburn beat them in a series at Plainsman Park in Auburn. So there's some parity in college baseball right now. And then you've got teams, who are on the verge of, maybe they can get on a run, make something happen. I think of Ole Miss. Ole Miss has Auburn this weekend. And they've got a doubleheader today. Actually, last night's got rained out. But Ole Miss was a team who, blatantly was not very good in the regular season last year, and yet won the national championship. They got hot when they needed to, and was able to win some games in Omaha. But right now, even though LSU lost to Auburn, I think we can safely say that they're still probably the best team in the country. But I think that says a lot about Auburn, and maybe they're a team that can find their way back to Omaha. Auburn 27-19-1 this year, 11-13 in conference play. But what they were able to do against LSU, very impressive. The way they were able to hit, but most of all, the way they were able to pitch and finish games on the mound, I think, is huge for the Auburn Tigers. And as far as Alabama goes, they're 32-16. They're also 11-13 in SEC play. They played great against Vanderbilt, who was a top 5 team last weekend. So, Alabama has a chance to, maybe win a couple of games in Hoover as well. So they're playing, I think, with a chip on their shoulder, just based on the fact of what all's happened in the last week. You can imagine that would be challenging for any team to have to do after your coach was fired for what he did, and basically people betting against you. He knew about it and was supplying information. That would mess up any team, really. So hats off to Alabama and what they have been able to do. But college baseball is fun, and I don't think as many people pay attention to it as they should, because again, a lot of parity, things we don't see in other college sports, but certainly fun to see. And hopefully in a matter of moments we'll have Joe Cox of Saturday Down South. He covers SEC baseball, and always fun to talk to him. And so we'll hopefully get him on in just a second, get his thoughts on SEC baseball. While we have a second, though, we do want to remind you, we want you to be a part of the show. So check us out there. Like us, share us on Facebook, also on YouTube as well. Let us know who your team is, who you cheer for. And so we will hopefully be talking to Joe Cox in just a second. And I tell you what, let's jump to a break right here. Hopefully we'll have him on the other side here on Southern Sports Now on this Friday. We'll be back in just a second.
We're excited to announce that starting this April, we'll be entering into the cabinet business. With that in mind, we're going to change our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond encompasses everything that we do in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welberg Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
East Alabama Now Local News has been bringing you the best local news coverage for 6 months. And now we're growing.
EAN News will be available to you 5 nights a week with new faces, new content, and coverage that is second to none.
We'll be bringing you the weather that matters to your neighborhood and to you. Rain or shine, you'll be in the know.
Sports always brings communities together, and EAN Sports will have coverage of all of our area events.
East Alabama Now, local news, new faces, same great coverage. Starting 5 days a week, May 1st. EAN Local News, your news on your schedule.
Southern Sports Now on a Friday morning. So glad you're joining us. Chase Robinson here as we continue on. We've covered a lot so far here in the first part of the show, and we're going to talk some SEC baseball now. And we welcome on a guy who knows a lot about that subject, Joe Cox from Saturday Down South, covers SEC baseball. Joe, great to have you on today. How are you?
Doing great, Chase. Good to be on with you.
Always great to talk SEC baseball with you, Joe. And it's been an interesting week. And I want to start with Alabama because, I mean, they're a team that a couple of weeks ago, Brad Bohannon leading the team, and not now. Jason Jackson, interim coach, has taken over from the scandal down in Tuscaloosa. What have you seen from Alabama? I thought they responded well in what could have been a really tough situation.
Yeah, absolutely they did. Just inexplicable that they would come out and win that series with Vanderbilt, coming off the craziest week ever, which is part of the craziest year ever. If you're in the Alabama athletic department, you have to kind of hide under the desk and think what can be next. But the Tide came out, took it to Vanderbilt, and they're masters of their own fate, moving ahead at this point.
Yeah, and what would you say are some strengths for this Alabama team this season?
The pitching has been surprisingly good. There's not really one guy. It's been kind of a team-wide depth thing. That has really surprised me. I didn't see that coming, but that's been a strength more or less throughout. Offensively, they're not one of the flashier teams, but they have enough power. They have enough speed. They're a solid team that doesn't beat itself. And this is a time of year where maybe that helps you.
Yeah, for sure. And another team here in the state of Alabama that made some noise this past weekend in a good way is the Auburn Tigers, able to do something no team has done and beat LSU in a series. What impresses you about Auburn? Last year we kind of saw them take off at the end, get to the College World Series. What do you see from this Auburn team this year?
Well, it's all about the hitting with Auburn because the pitching has been really suspect, but they're getting better on the mound, and that's really been enough. You combine the offensive attack. I love Ike Irish. That guy, probably my all-SEC catcher, and the bats are big for them. It's just a matter of the arms finally starting to catch up. But, yeah, beating LSU, that's massive. Moving ahead, they finish up. They've got Ole Miss and Mizzou. They could well play their way into regional hosting when all is said and done.
We're talking with Joe Cox from Saturday Down South, covers SEC baseball. When you look at the conference as a whole, last year, 4 of the 8 World Series teams were from the SEC. I know we'll see a lot in the tournament in a couple of weeks, but do you see the SEC being able to make a run like they did a season ago?
Absolutely. The only real issue is who's it going to be, and that's probably just a question of who can be consistent. Before this past weekend, you would have said LSU. But, Florida's had some times they've struggled. Vanderbilt, take that series with Alabama. They've had some times they've struggled. Tennessee looked like they were putting it all together, but maybe not so much. There's a lot of strong teams. Maybe Arkansas is the one that's kind of sliding under the radar here. But I love both of the teams from Alabama. Either or both of them could be big-time game changers because, as Ole Miss showed us a year ago, it's not necessarily where you were at a month ago or 2 months ago. It's where you're at, when the games are played in the NCAA, and I like where they're both at right now.
Yeah, I do as well. When it comes to LSU, and we saw they've been playing great baseball all season long, Auburn was able to beat them this past weekend. Do you see LSU just picking up right where they left off before that Auburn series? Where do you see LSU at right now coming off that series loss to Auburn?
They're not really in a bad spot, but the concern for LSU, the thing they've got to address, Paul Skeens has been great. He's been a just knock 'em dead ace.
Yeah.
But who's number 2? Who's number 3? Who's going to come out of the bullpen and give them the tough innings? And that's a spot where they're really just kind of scratching right now. Ty Floyd is probably a key to them. He's a guy with great stuff, but you start looking at his ERA. His ERA is almost 5. They need a little more out of him. And they've got some injuries in the bullpen. They've got to get some guys stepping up. The hitting will carry them a long way. It'll probably carry them to Omaha without good pitching, but it won't carry them all the way without some more pitching depth.
So what would you say for Arkansas? What would you say would be their key to be able to maybe win the SEC and go deep?
Just to keep playing fundamental baseball. they're kind of like Alabama, really, in that the pitching's been better than expected. The hitting's not flashy. They don't have guys like Caglione from Florida or Dylan Cruz from LSU who are just going to come out and hit 500-foot bombs and intimidate everybody. But they both play smart baseball. And Arkansas really maybe has been the most consistent team in the league. You know, pitch okay, hit okay, play smart, win a lot of 1- and 2-run games, which you're going to see more and more of.
Joe Cox from Saturday Down South joining us, talking some SEC baseball here on Southern Sports Now. And Joe, South Carolina was a team that we were seeing looking very good. They lost consecutive series. They lost one to Kentucky. They lost to Auburn. What's going on with South Carolina right now?
Well, the pitching has gone south a little bit, but probably more concerning for them is the hitting kind of fading away, because they early in the year, South Carolina and LSU, when you were talking about the big bats, you know, Carolina has a lot of power, but they've got a lot of injuries. That's a team that's really, really beaten up, and the season could go either way for them at this point. If they can get some guys healthy, get back to the kind of baseball they were playing 3 or 4 weeks ago, they're fine. But if not, yeah, what we've seen the last 2 weekends might make it a short rest of the season.
Yeah, you mentioned Florida a moment ago as well. What stands out to you about the Florida Gators, and maybe what could propel them to be one of the top in the conference?
Well, that 1-2 power punch of Jack Caglione, who everybody's talking about. He's the two-way guy. He leads the conference in home runs. He's just the phenom. But everybody forgets Wyatt Langford, who just kind of quietly is probably the second or third best player in the league. When you've got two guys who are amazing power threats, maybe you can keep one guy off the board. It's hard to keep both of those guys off the board.
For sure. SEC baseball, we're in the last couple of weekends for the SEC tournament. Always fun this time of the year, and then to see how far some of these SEC teams can go. Joe Cox covers it for Saturday Down South, SaturdayDownSouth.com, there with all SEC baseball news. Joe, really appreciate you taking a few minutes with us this morning, talking some SEC baseball. We will have to do it again real soon, but appreciate your time today.
Sounds great, Chase. Take care. Glad to have you back.
Thank you. Joe Cox, Saturday Down South, doing a great job covering SEC baseball. We appreciate him for joining us here on the show today as SEC baseball in full force as we get to the weekend, as some more stuff will be happening. Jeremy Noble dropped a comment on our Facebook stream. Congratulations to the Etowah Blue Devils in sweeping and going to the state championship. Yes, congratulations, Coach Blake Bone and Etowah. Big win last night for those guys as St. John Paul came to town. Etowah back at the state championship. They lost a year ago, and I was at that series where they played at Jacksonville State. Etowah lost, and Coach Blake Bone, as I got to know him, you know, he believes in these guys. He believes in this team, and they're definitely a team that we could see perhaps hoisting that blue map next week in Jacksonville. But, yes, congratulations to Etowah. Appreciate your comment there, Jeremy. And, folks, I want to know what you think, whether it's SEC baseball, whether it's Braves baseball, whatever it is. Let us know what you think. And or what high school team you're cheering for as we get ready for the state championships in both high school and softball. Again, thanks to Joe Cox. He's been a guest of mine on whatever program I'm doing for a long time, so I appreciate Joe for joining me today talking some SEC baseball. We have a few minutes left in the show, and I want to get to something, and this is on my mind this time of the year, every year, when the NFL releases their schedule. So the NFL last night released all the team schedules, and it's a big deal. Of course, the teams know who they're going to play. They just don't know when and where and who's on Monday night and who's on Sunday night, all that good stuff. But the NFL does a good job of making people get excited in the offseason. And so The point I bring up every year, this time of the year, is when is college football going to step up and do the same thing the NFL does? The NFL, again, people were excited last night. They were able to see their team, their schedule be released, when their team's playing, who they're going on the road to, who they're hosting, when they're playing on Monday night, when they're playing on Sunday night. People are excited about that. People tend to get more excited about the NFL because the NFL gives them more reason to be excited. College football has a chance. I'm a huge college football guy. And college football is missing an opportunity to have all eyes on them on a night as schedules are released and get people excited about the season. You got the transfer portal, which gets some people excited, depending on the school, gets some people very upset. You've got NIL. That takes a lot of news, but it's not a lot of positive news. You've got spring football, teams playing each other. They don't show anything. You can't learn a lot. And half the team probably is not going to be there when they start fall camp in August. That's what college football gives you to be excited about. The NFL gives you releasing schedules and getting people fired up for the season. And college football is missing an opportunity to do that. And if I was the president or commissioner of college football, we would be doing all kinds of things in the spring to get people excited for what's to come. You look at viewership on Sundays for NFL versus viewership Saturdays in college football, and the past couple of years, a few years ago, you would have said college football has way more eyeballs on it. But as of late, NFL is kind of shifting where the NFL is having some more eyeballs on Sundays than college football is on Saturdays. So let's do what we can, college football, to make sure that we have all eyes on Saturdays to what is my favorite football, and that is college football. So that is my thought of the day, that college football needs to step up to the plate and get people excited in the offseason. Model yourselves after the National Football League, who does a fantastic job at that. So we have had a full show today. We've covered everything from high school baseball to high school softball to college baseball, college softball. That's what we do here on Southern Sports Now, and I'm so excited to bring it to you every single day. Remember where you can watch us. That's on YouTube, on the East Alabama Now YouTube channel. We're on Facebook, on the East Alabama Now Facebook page. We're now on podcast, so if you miss the show, if you have to cut out early, you can go to Spotify, you can go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and listen to Southern Sports Now in podcast form at your convenience on demand. Or you can, of course, go back on Facebook and YouTube and watch the show if you missed any of it as well. So there's always ways to go back and check out what you missed here on Southern Sports Now. Also want to point you to the EAN Local News. Comes your way every day right here on the East Alabama Now YouTube channel, Facebook page. Go give the EAN News page a follow on Facebook. We've got a great news team working to bring you the best in East Alabama there on the EAN Local News. That's going to do it for this Friday edition of Southern Sports Now. We'll do it again next week. Each weekday from 10 to 11, we'll be here with you live for Southern Sports Now. We're having a big week next week. State championships are in town here in East Alabama at Oxford and Jacksonville State for softball and baseball. We'll cover it all next week as here on Southern Sports Now. Hope you all have a great weekend. We'll talk to you Monday at 10 o'clock for more Southern Sports Now. We'll see you then.